Welcome to the first ever Music Rooms podcast. I'm Calum. I'll be hosting these. And today we've got Rodney.
Hi, Calum.
For those of you who don't know, Rodney, do you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, hi everyone. My name's Rodney Beggs. I am originally from Ballyclare. I've been living around the Ballymena area for many years, and I've been involved in the local music scene for quite a while. I started actually playing music in a church in Ballymena, and I've been around ever since. So I'm the owner of the Music Rooms, which we'll probably go into a bit of detail on what that's all about in a bit. I love football, support Liverpool. I enjoy cycling, going for a walk, and eating fine food.
That's pretty good. So if you're wondering, watching this, what me and Rodney are doing here, what kind of crazy thing we're doing, this is pretty much just going to be a podcast focused on music in the local area. Hopefully in the future, we're going to get plenty of local musicians, chat about what they're doing, what they're up to, and hopefully we're getting close to where we'll be able to see some of these people performing soon. So today we're just going to chat to you, Rodney, and get a little bit about what the Music Rooms is, what you guys do, how you've come to being. So just to start off with, we'll look a bit more into you, Rodney. What got you into music first?
So as I said at the start, I actually I got my first drum kit when I was 9 from Santa. I showed a bit of interest in that beforehand. My grandfather was really he was quite musical. He used to play the mouth organ, he used to sing, he played a bit of the fiddle, and my mum and dad sang in choirs and stuff. My granddad played the bass drum in a local melody marching band, and he always kind of said that I had, like, whenever I was playing about or messing about with him, that I'd got rhythm and all the rest of it. So I kind of showed a bit of a keen interest, and then mum and dad and our family went to the Elim Church in Ballymena, and there was a guy there who used to play the drums. He was called Chris Tweed. So he was an early hero, an idol of mine. He used to play the drums. He was a great drummer. I used to sit and watch him and stare, and just his ability to play. And he was a really cool guy as well. He's a good mate of mine now, actually. And I'd so literally then I asked for a drum kit, and I tortured my parents for 4 or 5 years, and beating the life out of it, learning it, watching Chris, watching other people, and I taught myself the drums, and I started to just play then in the local church.
So I assume then when you got the drums, it was, I want to be a rock star. Was that?
Yeah, pretty well. I mean, at the time, it was probably like I wanted to. So at the time, my friend Chris, he was in a band and stuff that we followed around. So it was kind of emulating stuff that those guys did. They were just playing gigs and playing shows. They were a Christian band, so they played in lots of churches and venues. And so at the time, and then I ended up setting up my own Christian band whenever I was 15, and kind of following what those guys do. But yeah, I mean, it was very much, it was very much that's what really introduced me to music, playing live, all that kind of thing.
So that's interesting. So it sort of almost links back to your involvement, I guess, in local music now, where it was actually local music that got you into music rather than the big rock bands or anything
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, I obviously had the band stuff that I liked, but I mean, I'm obviously ever since I've been back and forward to loads and loads of gigs, been very fortunate to do that. But I mean, my initial music interest, which you'll probably find with maybe a lot of people in Northern Ireland, maybe not a lot of people, it started in church. It started in just being involved and playing with other musicians in church, and it was a great way, to be honest with you, to sort of keep us on the straight and narrow, so to speak. We used to go for rehearsals and practices, and it gave us something to focus on. So that's kind of where it started. And then, yeah, I mean, all our gigs were local. We were just playing around. We played, and we went on to play in a lot of the venues in Belfast.
Yeah.
You know, Front Page, Katie Daly's, Auntie Annie's, all of those places.
That's good. So at what point do you think it led you into wanting to set up the music rooms, you know, get involved in something like that?
So my kind of musical journey is quite funny because whilst I had that all going on, my biggest passion was always football. All I ever wanted to do was actually be a footballer. But I mean, I wasn't really that good. So I played music and I really enjoyed it. So I tried to get involved in music in my school. I was overlooked because I wasn't kind of classically trained. And so the music teacher at the school, I mean, I won't name him, but anyone who knows the school I went to will know who he was. He's a bit of an idiot. You know, he just didn't really, with my parents, it was either, you know, it was either go to football or go to music. And at the time I loved football so much. So music was really just a hobby thing, you know, and I really enjoyed it. But because it wasn't being pursued as a, you know, something that I was at the time getting grades in and all the rest of it, I was overlooked in school. So I kept it as a hobby type thing. I taught myself the guitar when I was 15. It took me about a year to learn that. And then I started to play the guitar in the church as well. And that's really what I did, was with around the band and stuff and all the rest of it. And then we see, so probably fast forward about maybe 7 or 8 years, a guy came up to me in the church one day and he said, I really enjoy the way you play the guitar. I'd love you to teach my son.
Yeah.
And I'd never ever thought about teaching. That was the God's honest truth. I'd never thought about it. And he said, you know, come over on Friday. And he took, like, I mean, he had obviously done his research. He said, look, I'll pay you this, and you know, see how it goes. And so it kind of all that aspect of it all happened like by chance. You know, he just kind of had heard me playing guitar. I was actually more of a drummer than I was a guitarist. I was accomplished enough at rhythm guitar, but so he said that he wanted me to come teach his son. And honestly, I mean, I can honestly say the music room started that day. It didn't start by name, but what we've been doing now started that day, because I started teaching him. He's a guy called Paul. His nickname's Foggy Robinson. Then he got he told his mates that he was learning the guitar. Then he said one of my mates wants to learn the drums, and I was like, all right, I'll teach him the drums. And so it all kind of came about by chance. And I mean, I kind of stayed ahead of it at the time. But at the time I had no formal qualifications teaching. Yeah. I mean, they told me the songs they wanted to learn, and I figured out a way to teach them, and then it just all, that's where it started, really.
Okay, so we'll break this up a little bit, and we're gonna start a bit of a game here. So the whole idea is to get to know you a bit better, you know, music you're into. We're gonna take you to a desert island. We're gonna drop you off. No quarantine or anything, you can just go. But you're gonna get some sort of iPod. Battery will last forever, but you're only allowed 3 songs on it. So if you're gonna pick 3 songs, what would your first one be?
First song I would pick would be, it's probably quite corny for a lot of, I'm a massive Bruce Springsteen fan, but it's a song called The Rising by Bruce Springsteen. Uh-huh. The reason I would choose that one is because it's a song that really gets me pumped up. Like if I'm going to go out on the bike, that'll be one of the first songs I'll play. If I need to get up off my backside and do something, it's a song that I'll play. It's a real kind of go-getting song. It's got a great melody. It's got a great driving chorus. It's got a great it's energetic. And so The Rising by Bruce Springsteen would be my first song without a shadow of a doubt.
Oh, Springsteen's definitely good at that. Like any of his songs,
really good.
Just
so energetic, and it takes you back. And if you've seen him in concert as well, and you've heard that song, you can, especially if you're on a desert island and nobody else is there, you can reminisce a wee bit as well.
Oh, even better than a song, something like there's the Springsteen on Broadway. He's incredible, yeah. Just on stage talking and
really good. I've watched that actually. I plan to watch it again because I can't remember what happened, but I think I watched it in about 3 or 4 different sittings, just with whatever was going on. It was whenever we were in our old house, and I just didn't really I didn't get the flow of it, but
Yeah.
the kind of spoken word of it all and the way he tied it all together and the songs was really incredible. I really enjoyed it.
Okay, that's pretty good. So we'll get back to the music rooms where we left off there. So at what point then officially did the music rooms start? And what was the, obviously you said you were teaching students, getting more students, and
Yeah.
how did that actually become the music rooms?
Okay, yes. So I was teaching my mate's son, then I was teaching lots of his son's mates. And that kind of built into, I suppose, a little music school, I taught out of a few different venues. And then I got to about, I think it was 25, 26. And I hadn't really decided what I wanted to do, really. So what I was doing was I was working as a freelance musician, doing some teaching, doing some gigs. And I also worked for a local newspaper. And I was doing like advertising work for them. And I mean, I was really enjoying the music stuff, but it was always a kind of thing like, it was always a part-time thing. So I didn't really know what I wanted to do. And then a really good friend of mine called Aaron Blair, who you'll know very well.
Yes.
He said to me one day in a music shop, because why don't you just go traveling? That's what I did. And I did. I took a year out and I went traveling, and in total I traveled for about a year and 3 months. And I actually stopped off in your house when you were a really, really wee lad in New Zealand. And I went traveling, and to be honest with you, that was really like I wouldn't say that I made my mind up when I was traveling, but I went traveling. I saw lots of the world, met loads of people, played lots of gigs in different countries and all the rest of it. Was really enjoying the music. But no matter, I still came back with the idea that, I don't know how I could ever, really turn this into something that really makes me money, because it's so seasonal and it's so like focused on weekend stuff and all the rest of it. So I came back and I started a totally different company. I started a media company with a really good friend of mine. So we worked through that about a year, and I was still kind of teaching some people, playing some gigs and all the rest of it. And then one day we were just like, we were just talking about it, and he was saying, we could probably turn that into a business. So we actually reached out to a couple of other musicians that we knew, and we said, look, we're thinking of starting this as a business to run alongside our media company. And look, the guys, they liked the idea of it. So we had an office out in Gilgorm. So we converted the upstairs in the office. It was our office space. And then downstairs, we can convert it into some teaching rooms. And we started to advertise. We came up with the name, the music rooms. So we started out in Gilgorm as a music school. And that's really when it became official, where we started to go out with a name, a brand.
What year would that have been when you got into Gilgorm?
So 2011 would have been when it all kind of started, really. 2011.
Nearly at your 10 year.
We are, we're really close. To 10 years. Wow, I never actually thought about that, but yeah, about 10 years.
I have to have a big celebration.
Yeah, well, if we're allowed.
So you said you played in a few different countries. Any you'd like to name, or?
Oh yeah, sure. So I mean, I played some gigs around, like quite a few around Australia. I was fortunate to play some gigs in America and Canada. When I was with the band, we were in Gibraltar. I'd done some gigs at a time around Spain, Italy. Italy was a wedding, right enough, but yeah, played at a gig in Italy one time. Where else? In Southeast Asia, actually, whenever we were in Southeast Asia, me and my mate, so the guy I went traveling with, sometimes we would have went and I'd have rocked up with a guitar, and we would have maybe like blagged a couple of nights accommodation if I agreed to do a gig and stuff like that. So we had some massive night street parties, gigs in these little sort of open bars in on beaches on like islands in Thailand and all the rest of it. And so we would have blagged our way around. He would have used me as bait to maybe, well, to be fair, we used ourselves to kind of get some free breakfasts and dinners and all the rest of it, and it was good fun. So yeah, Southeast Asia, we done quite a lot round about there, and yeah, probably well, we've done like obviously like England, Scotland, Wales, done all that down south. Yeah, fortunate enough.
How would the crowds compare to around here?
Oh,
Different
way
or
better because
better?
nobody knows you over there, so they think you're amazing. And back then, people used to say I looked like Brian McFadden, which was never a compliment until I went to Australia, and they love him over there. So that went down really well. I never liked it until that point, but yeah, no, they don't know you, and I don't know. There seems to be something about that, new face, new guy. So you're in doing it. I mean, I had a couple of really great gigs in Melbourne around St. Patrick's Day. A couple, like outdoor, maybe a couple of thousand people all singing along, and stuff you'll never forget. That, yeah, really, just because you're an Irish guy
Yeah.
in Australia on St. Patrick's Day, this is just like that. It's like, yeah, this is what St. Patrick wanted, kind of things. But
Probably
so
fair few
yeah.
free Guinness those nights, I'd say.
Yeah, there was free Guinness. There was indeed, yeah.
So you said you had the sort of like rooms set up in Galgorm.
Yeah.
What sort of led to it changing from just being focused purely on the lessons in the small space in Galgorm? How did it kind of grow into it?
So basically my business partner, the guy that I set up with, John, he basically came to me and said, look, he would like to go in a different direction. At the time we had kind of we sort of parked the media company. We sold off a couple of bits of it, and we started concentrating in the music rooms. And John would have played a bit of music like as a hobby, if you know what I mean, but he kind of helped set up the business side of it. And a lot of the systems that he implemented are still in place today. But yeah, he just said he fancied a new challenge. So I bought him out, and I bought him out of the business. And I wouldn't say that we disagreed on it, because I had always wanted to start a music shop, and especially whenever there was no music shop, there was no dedicated music shop in Ballymena. Nowhere that musicians could go and hang out and have a coffee and talk about music gear and all the rest of it. Since the old one, which I kind of grew up around, like closed, there was nowhere. So I was like, when I bought him out, I was like, do you know what? I'm going to open a music shop. So that was around 2000. That was around 2013. Yeah, 2013 or so. I bought him out, and we opened in November 2014. The shop. So I just always thought that. So that was the thing. I wanted Ballymena to have a dedicated music shop again. I thought it fit it really nicely with the fact that we already had a really good dynamic music school going and running. I just kind of felt that it was the next step.
It's that kind of all-in-one service. You can buy your
gear,
you can learn to use it.
Totally. That was the crux of it, to be honest.
So then you talked about wanting this kind of place where musicians could almost hang out. Like, how would the music rooms get involved with music in the community? Because I know you guys try to really.
Yeah, I mean, so it's quite hard, because like we've tried to run nights, we've tried to do stuff, and it is hard to get people to come out to stuff. It really is. So what we kind of tend to do is we work within the network of like people that we have. I mean, there's guys that work for the music rooms who go out and play in like all the local bars and pubs and all the rest of it, restaurants, hotels, and all of that. We run dedicated nights for our students. So we'll have a charity concert every year where they'll perform, and we'll charge at the door, and we'll raise money for charity. We do a Christmas single most years, normal times, where the kids will record a song, and we'll video that and sort of release that in the name of a good cause as well. We sponsor loads of local, music nights and opportunities, and so we try to get. We obviously teach in the schools as well, so we try to pull the schools kids in to do what we're doing. It's something that we feel is very, very important, is that we are involved in the community as much as possible. And I mean, certainly we're open to more opportunities. There's loads more that could be done. I mean, we're talking mainly about Ballymena, but I mean, we've got a music rooms in Antrim and we've got one in Coleraine, and in Antrim they do a big day out every year where they have like live music, and there was I think there was 10,000 people at the last one, and there was a music rooms kids band supported the main act like on the day. So we try to tie in with things like that. Randallstown festival every year, couple of thousand people coming through. It's the music rooms and the music rooms tutors, and usually me and my band that take care of the music on those evenings every year. So they have a night where they have live music. So we have the kids, so they're performing, to a lot of people. So we just look for all the opportunities. It's not possible all the time because with what we do, there's a commitment to, the kids, to the teachers being there to teach the kids, obviously, at times. But I mean, where possible, we try to go above and beyond.
Okay, so we'll go back to the desert island here.
Yeah.
And would you like to give us your second song?
Yeah, so probably, let's see, 3 months ago, this song wouldn't have been on my list, but I've been starting to listen to a lot of John Prine recently because he kind of falls in line with a lot of the kind of music that I like to play and a lot of the style that if I'm kind of, putting together a song or whatever, it seems to be the sort of style that I end up kind of gravitating towards. And I knew who he was and I knew a few of the songs, but in the last few months, I've just really started to listen to a lot of his stuff. So there's a lot of songs that I could choose, but one that kind of just always kind of makes me smile. And in preparation for this, I kind of thought it's a really good fit because of the word stuff. It's a song called Spanish Pipe Dream. And it basically, the chorus says, blow up your TV, throw away your papers, move to the country, find yourself a home, plant a little garden, eat a lot of peaches, try and find Jesus on your own. So it kind of backs up being remote and away from a lot of stuff. And the words of it are good. It's a happy song. It also talks about like not listening to a lot of the mainstream carry on that's going on, and so that I think that's why it resonates with me a lot at the minute.
Definitely
So it's a song it's a song that whenever it comes on at the minute, it really makes me smile. And among a lot of his other songs, but I really like that one, so that one's my second.
Any others you'd suggest if anyone's not as familiar with him? Or
he's got some great songs. I mean, I've got this playlist going on at the minute, and I'm trying to think of. There's I can just remember the melody, so just give me 1 second. It'll come to me. I Remember Everything is a great song. Speed of the Sound of Loneliness is a great song. The other one that I really liked, I can't remember the name of, but what I'm going to do, I'm going to come back to it when we ask our next one, and I'll give some more John Prine. I'm just going to turn this here up in front of me because I've had a mind blank.
All right. So we'll get back a bit to the music rooms then before we get on to that third song, which I'm sure everyone can't wait to hear. So obviously we've had a lot of businesses in the area have really struggled. What has the music rooms been trying to do in the current climate to, I guess, keep going and keep things moving?
Yeah. So, I mean, we've had to furlough like staff because of all of this. We teach a lot in schools. Schools are closed. We rely on people coming into our shops in Antrim, Ballymena and Coleraine. Shops have been forced to close. So what we've did is we've really just had to automate everything. So I basically got a company to rework and redo and make our website like the best it could possibly be whenever the lockdown kicked in. And so we just went from selling through our shops to selling online. So we've been selling all over the UK, Ireland, and it's we set up some really good deals with our suppliers so that we had access to their full warehouse, so it maybe wasn't sitting in one of our shops. So lots of our sales were what we call drop shipped. So somebody saw a guitar, they bought it. That once that was bought, that sent an automatic email to our supplier, who then shipped it direct to the customer. So we worked really hard on setting up lots of automated stuff, because I mean we with what we had coming in, we had to take advantage of the government offering to furlough our staff for what was left of our students, as in, so we lost about probably 65 to 70% of our students because schools, so 50% went in schools, and then the rest was kind of like people who maybe didn't really fancy doing the online lessons, people who would have loved it on online lessons, but they had a terrible internet connection, which for what we're doing now, that's how they're taught. If it's a bad internet connection, all you're getting is, and it's really frustrating. So those people may have tried it, or they may have just known, look, that's not going to work because of our internet connection. So we lost. So for what we had left, we turned that into an online teaching facility, and our teachers just really stepped up to the mark. They had a shared resource area where, which was just all in one central source, again, down to the work that we did on our website. So that, everything was accessible online. So we just went from an in-person, very much digital, hands-on business, or sorry, non-digital hands-on business, to being a completely digital, we arrange a time, we log in, and then you get stuff sent by email. And honestly, that's what's kept us going. Like, it really has. Whilst the numbers were down, overheads then were obviously down, because staff were furloughed. We weren't having to pay rent because we didn't have premises. We got our rates covered, and they're still being covered, which is great. So loads of overheads came down. So that allowed us to just to keep ticking over, to be honest. And we just tried to be as with whatever staff we had left of our teachers and stuff. We just tried to be as proactive on social media and stuff as possible.
It's one thing I know I've seen, obviously following you guys on Facebook, and that there was a lot of posts from you guys saying like, hey, we're doing this online, or you had the deliveries as well. You did seem to really be trying to take action to make something happen.
Yeah, it was important. It was important to me that we didn't disappear. So yeah, we offered a free delivery service to Northern Ireland, where some of our teachers were teaching in the evening and going out and delivering, during the day, and all the rest of it. We that was free over 30 quid. Brexit happening in the middle of it really didn't help matters either. But the free delivery to Northern Ireland really helped us with that, because people were struggling to get some stuff across. So I know that we got some sales just purely based on us offering that local service. So we just really tried to take advantage where we could of any opportunities that were going, and that were that kind of served our music community locally, and further afield as best we could.
So hopefully now we seem to be getting towards things opening up a bit, that kind of light at the end of the tunnel. For the music rooms, what's the kind of plans going forward? Is there any ideas or anything you're hoping to do soon?
Yeah, so we're going to be I can't really say too much on it at the minute, but we're going to be investing a little bit in our Ballymena shop, to maybe give the local community a little bit more offering in there. I mean, we're going to be looking to I mean, we're going to be looking to tie in with our schools again, and we kind of know that we're not going to, there's not going to be much until September, I reckon. So we're really look to kind of position ourselves with our schools again to get back in there. We would love to have done a summer scheme, but I don't think that's going to be possible. Just, with the way everything's going on. We run a great, and I'm not just saying this, but we run a great summer scheme. Like the one that we done 2 years ago in 2019 was a roaring success. We had like 300 kids through in 4 different areas. It was called Summer Jam, and it had everything from music to discos to water fights to bouncy castles to all sorts of sports and activities, crafts. Really, I'm really looking forward to being able to do that and offer that to local communities again. It's just not possible at the minute because of how things are going on. So, I mean, we're just really chomping at the bit to be able to go back out and do what we do, because we love what we do. We feel very grateful for what we do and what we can call a job. So, I mean, I'm just really I'm really thankful that we're still here, and I just want I just want to get going to I suppose the last year's kind of taught me that it kind of taught me that I am very grateful to be able to call this a job, and I just want to make it the best it can be for our customers. I want to make it the best it can be for our staff. I want our staff to feel as if they're coming to work every day, and they love the thought of coming to work in the music rooms. And so I guess it's given me lots of time to think and come up with new ideas and all the rest of it. But really, I want to just I want to have the ability to get back out there and do what we do.
Yeah, well, I know you had sort of let me in on some of the plans for the Ballymena shop and that, and I have to say it's a watch this space, pretty exciting.
Yeah, because we're going to be doing like official announcements and stuff, but we're talking to some different people at the minute. That's why I can't say too much, but. As far as Ballymena goes, definitely watch the space. There's going to be some exciting news coming really shortly on that.
No, I mean, from what you told me, it's going to be some impressive work, hopefully.
I hope so.
I suppose we'll get on to then your final song, just to finish the Desert Island.
Okay, cool. So my final song is actually, it's a version of a song. So I mentioned that my first introduction to music was in church, and there's a guy called Vince Gill and a singer called Carrie Underwood, and they recorded live at I think it was at maybe at like a TV show or something. They recorded live a version of How Great Thou Art, and it is single-handedly, now that's one of my favorite hymns, but it's single-handedly the best version of the song you will ever hear in your life. I'll tell that, honestly, I'll stand by that. I'll debate that with anybody. Her voice is phenomenal. His guitar playing is it's just absolutely perfect for the song. It's not too much, it's not too little. If you haven't watched that, anyone who hasn't watched that, just type in How Great Thou Art, Vince Gill and Carrie Underwood. You will not be disappointed. It'll blow the socks off you. It'll bless the socks off you. It's a really powerful song anyway, but their arrangement, it's phenomenal. And can I just say, John Prine, Sam Stone, In Spite of Ourselves, Illegal Smile are all another 3 really good songs that would really get you into John Prine's style of writing and music and poetry and all of that.
There we go. Hopefully a few songs there for some people watching to hopefully learn a bit more music.
Yeah.
So to finish up, if anyone watching this is interested in the music rooms, where would they be able to find you?
So if you check out our Facebook page, it's facebook.com/ the music rooms page, or just at the music rooms. You'll find us on like sort of Instagram and stuff like that as well. Our website is www.music-rooms.com. Or we've got like an automated phone system at the minute that'll get you through to where you need to go. It's 0845 680 3405. So if there's anything you need, any equipment you need, if you want to start playing, if you want to upgrade, if you want to learn, anything like that at all, get in touch in any of those formats, and we'll be sure to get back to you.
Okay, so I think that's pretty much it for our first episode of the podcast. Hopefully we're going to get many more, and I think you've got a few ideas of some local musicians. And
so what I'd like to do is there's a couple of really interesting people I think that work for the music rooms, and so what I'd like is for us to maybe have a couple of podcasts with those guys. I'd like to talk to some local musicians. I'd like to talk to some local guys that run music events in the local area. Guys that work closely with the likes of the Arts Council and all the rest of it. I would like this to be I'd like it to be as generic as possible. I'd really like to use it to start to raise awareness of what's going on in our local music community, and try and fuse it together as much as we can.
And it's a good time because I'm sure anyone listening is probably desperate to see some live music again. And as I said before, we seem to be that light at the end of the tunnel where hopefully we're going to get some people playing soon, even if it's outdoor, small crowds. We're going to get something, hopefully.
Yeah, hopefully we're not too far away. Based on the last year, I don't like to second guess anything. I don't like to assume anything, but I do think that we are closer than ever, put it that way. Especially with how vaccinations is going. I mean, that for me gives us the insurance policy, where before they were opening up into the unknown. Now we're opening up into, people have been vaccinated. There's a vaccination program. It's being rolled out aggressively. So hopefully.
So thank you to anyone that's listened, and hopefully we'll be back soon. Lots more musicians.